Greetings, minions and fellow gamers. This is Silverblade with a game review of Dawn of Andromeda by Iceberg Interactive and Grey Wolf Entertainment. Disclaimer right off the bat, this game was given to me for free in exchange for doing a review. I have not been paid for this, just got the game for free to do a review. So with that all aside, let's get right to it. So, Dawn of Andromeda. See, I can't even say it right because I'm all fuzzled in the head. But Dawn of Andromeda is a kind of a real-time slash quasi turn-based strategy game. This is much in the same vein as, say, Galactic Civilizations. Even, I would say, to some extent, like Civilizations, Master of Orion, Endless Space, Sins of a Solar Empire, and even, I would say, Sword of the Stars. You basically have a planetary system that you develop, and you build ships, you expand your empire outwards, and you deal with other alien empires, whether you deal with them diplomatically or you deal with them militarily, is completely up to you. Now, I've played this game for a number of hours. I've done both the scenario, the single-player game of it, as well as a skirmish version of the game, and I like it a lot. There's a lot to it that it just works smoothly. It's very familiar, especially if you played the games I previously mentioned. It's very much in the very same vein, same game mechanics, I guess you could say, and didn't really find much wrong with it. There was a couple little bugs, and I think part of that was due to the fact that when I did this skirmish, I had a huge map, and it's been hot around here, and it probably heated up my computer to a degree where it started making my computer glitch out a little bit with graphics and stuff like that. But it wasn't a game-killing bug, and exiting and re-entering the game pretty much made everything just fine. So let's go through and take a look, shall we? So game options. Okay, I got to get out of the options part because I had to turn off the music because I don't want a copyright strike. So we will go to the start new game. You can choose an era or do a custom game. This is essentially a single player story mode, and this here you can kind of do a skirmish. So we'll go to choose era. To the Stars and Beyond is the first one, and it has each little chapter, I guess you could say. And this one here is essentially a tutorial. So we'll just run through this real quick. To the Stars and Beyond. The deep space race has begun. The bureaucratic Terrans and the industrious Scythian have at last gained access to the stars, and both now seek new worlds to colonize. It remains to be seen whether they can trust each other, and whether they are at all prepared for what else might await them in Andromeda. So galaxy size small, starting players 2. So we'll do that, and this gives you a top-down view of the galaxy, and it gives you can select either Terrans or Scythian, however you want to pronounce that, but it gives you their traits, what their pros and cons are, what the race info is. Terrans, of course, are basically humans. You get to start off here or in here, and the victory condition for this first mission is to survive for 2 years. Now, one thing to make note is that each race, and you can customize them in the skirmish mode, they have their pros and cons. For instance, let's go with the Terrans because they're most familiar. Great negotiators. The chances of another empire accepting a diplomatic proposal is increased by 25%. That is if you're into diplomacy. Whereas me, I like big guns and I cannot lie. Militaristic. Prosperity isn't affected if empire is at war. Relations with empires with the pacifist trait receive a 4 penalty. Internally unstable damages your prosperity, loyal ally, and diverse. So those are the traits for the Terrans, the Scythian, clumsy shipwrights, hard workers, religious, cultured, and charismatic. So you can read the definitions for what pros and cons you get out of each of those things. Now, when you set up a colony, and I'll demonstrate this shortly, you can get governors to manage the planets for you, and based on these traits, they can affect the production, or whether it's in industry or in research or anything like that. It can affect those things. Also, you will have a council, kind of like a military or not a military council, but like a president's cabinet, and they'll manage each particular thing, like internal affairs, foreign relations, industry, technology, finances. And sometimes you'll find traits where, like, if you put some dude X in this particular role, and he has a certain trait that makes it so that he's a complete a-hole to all people on the council, it's going to affect the way they gain experience. And as they gain experience, they can lose negative traits and gain positive ones. That makes them more effective. So anyways, enough of my babble on this. Let's get right into it. So this will take a little bit to load, and hopefully it's still recording, because there's a transition from game to a load screen to a game, and I sometimes lose the video in that. Right now, okay, there we go. So this gives you an introduction. The intense pressure of overpopulation on Earth means that the need for new houses on new worlds has never been greater. And though few Terrans would admit as much publicly, the idea of an intergalactic empire is a highly tempting one, too. Our civilization can only progress if we research new technology. We should start right away. Well, don't mind if I do. So here you have the technology tree, and you're going to have, let's first of all pause the game. This is the slow, normal, and fast. So when you first start off in the game, you'll want to pause it just so you can get your bearings. So for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to describe how things are in this. So, technology tree. You got 3 different main branches. You have military, I believe this is social, and this is actual, like, raw science. So military, obviously, this will help you develop your weaponry and defenses, and also special gadgets that you can put on ships that you can design. Social, this will help you develop your planets, as well as being able to harvest resources and advance things for your society. And then sciences. This is where you can get like laboratories and universities, so that you can increase your education, your researchers, so that they can research faster or more. Branches off into various different things like energy research and things like that for engines, and in, like, right up here, reinforced stations. This here, you have to unlock this in the chain to unlock the next one down. But like reinforced stations provides a base bonus of 600 to max HP of all stations that you have orbiting your planet. Some of these will make it so you can have more stations surrounding a colony, things of that nature. So all these things here, it's 3 different tech trees. Along the way, as you get missions or certain events will happen, you'll have projects come up. Say there's a plague that befalls one of your colonies, and if you start researching the project that comes associated with it, you can cure that plague. So there's other ones. I don't want to spoil it too much, but there's other little incidental events that happen in the game that will cause you to have to pause your technology tree research to do with one of these projects, or else bad stuff will happen to you. Another thing is, along the way, you'll discover artifacts, and some of these can be beneficial, some of them a lot, some not so much. I won't get too much into it, but there has been an occasion where you can actually sell artifacts for bonus credits, which is kind of useful at times. Alright, so we're going to go and research something, and you can see this is the time it takes to research some of these things. So let's just go with something that's relatively quick. I guess extinguisher is kind of pointless, really. This one's decent, and it'll speed up social infrastructure, which can be kind of useful. So we'll research that. If you look at the queue, that's the first one in line. And then after that one's done, let's say we go for sustainable solar cities. We'll add that to the queue. And hell, why not? We'll just add a power barrier research just so that we can have some decent shields. We may end up needing those as well. So we'll exit out of this. And now we are at Terra. Now if we were to zoom out, this is what it all looks like, and you can move with the arrow keys. You can also go, I believe, to the edges of the screen. For me, it seems like the controls are a lot more smoother with the arrows, or a lot more controllable. Of course, I have a 44-inch TV screen, so it seems like it makes it a little bit more laborious to go like that. Anywho, and yes, there is apparently a sound in space, because that's the sound of the sun roaring like crazy. Anyway, right here we have a scout ship. We can zoom in on that. Little bitty guy right there. I'll zoom out because it's just obnoxiously noisy. Now up here we have controls for the scout. You can set it to passive, aggressive, to halt. This one here will assign it to a fleet, basically control and a number key, so you can set it to a number key for the fleet. You can also destroy it. Now this one here will set it to auto explore, and since it's a scout, let's just get it on its own business. And mind you, we are paused, so it's not going to go anywhere right yet. So here we have Terra 1. 2.4 billion people. We have a defense of 4,000 maximum HP, and that'll go up as we kick things started here. We produce plutonium and food is a key ingredient here, because if you don't have enough food to feed your people, well, you're gonna have a bad day. Also, as you can see, we have a positive balance of 19 credits. So up here at top, we have the treasury, the approval rating, the amount of food, prosperity, our research, and influence. Now all these, there's a lot of detailed things involved in some of these. Particularly influence can go up and down, and you can spend influence to deal with certain things. Research should be pretty self-explanatory. Prosperity, this one's a little bit on the complicated side, but that kind of gives you an indicator of how well things are going in your economy. Food, I've already mentioned that. Approval, that's self-explanatory. And of course your treasury, which you don't want to get a negative treasury. It'll also affect your prosperity. Up here we have our government menu, and you can see kind of the stats here. Finances tells you, you can set your tax rate. I usually like to go low because, well, that's kind of how I am. But it tells you your income and expenses, your empire policies, and as you research more, you can unlock more policies that have a positive or negative with each individual one. Like for instance, if you legalize slavery, well, you'll get 1 extra investment point, which I'll detail what that is, but it's going to cost you 10 approval to have this policy active. Up here, your penalties are more financial here. Down here, it's more of approval and also income. So that will swing this bar right here to either democracy or authoritarian. and that can have various effects on your empire. For the council, you got foreign relations, internal affairs, industry, finances, and science. Now again, you got different traits for these guys. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. Sometimes you'll want to get rid of one of these guys and shift him over to a different one. So let's say, for instance, this guy here, he's science, and he's an industrialist. Foster faster industry infrastructure development by 50% if he's a governor of a planet. Faster industry infrastructure development by 10% in every colony if he is the head of industry. Well, what the hell is he doing in the science? See, disloyal? I don't like that. Easygoing? Well, that's all well and good, but he's got the wrong job. He should be over here. So you can replace him with somebody else, and they have their own different little things to him, like this one here. He's more suited for science than Mr. Chuckles was. So this guy here, easygoing, he's a pacifist, and he's a farmer. Not really too helpful. There's no bonus for being on the council, so we'll replace him with this chucklehead, which we just took out from the science position, and we'll move him to that job. So now he's more suited for this job than what he was when he was the Minister of Science. So now he's in industry, and this guy is in science. That's all good. Now this guy here is the Minister of, or the head of finances, and let's see, earns experience 20% faster, which is kind of good. Populist if he's the head of internal affairs. So I kind of would want him more up here than in finances. So, or give him this job. But I think let's see, what's he got? Charismatic if he's a council member or head of foreign relations. Well, he's in internal affairs, so he's in the wrong job. So this guy should be here, and this guy should be here. And foreign relations, totally in the wrong job. But you can replace them, you can swap them around, and as time goes on, you get new guys that you can use to fill these roles. And then there's the Emperor log, and this is what will pop up from time to time over here, giving you details of what the events are going on in the game, pro and con. So now we'll go directly to the planet with a little double click, and this will give you a little bit of a view of what your planet is like. You got a basic colony set up here. We've already got a shipyards built, so we can actually build ships over here. We can also build a station. Over here is your vital stats, and the traits for this particular planet is increases max defense by plus 500. Okay. Let's see, this is the unit menu, this is the infrastructure menu. Now, if you recall back when I showed you the policies, and I said if you select slavery to legalize it, you'll get an extra point, an investment point. Well, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different things here that you could put an investment point in, like so. Alright, now we have no more investment points left, but we have one more here that doesn't have one of these little pips put in here, which means that if we really wanted to get them going, maybe legalizing slavery will get this going. Now, you got 1 out of 2, 2 out of 2. This one here doesn't need to be upgraded. It won't go upgrade any higher. This one won't upgrade any higher. So we can afford to put 1 in there. And we have 1 investment point left, which usually is probably pretty good to go right there. Now, that's the manual way of doing it, and as you progress along, these will get upgraded. It's like a experience bar of sorts. And so, where it says 2 of 2 or 1 or 2, eventually it'll be like 1 of 5 or 4 or 5 or 5 of 5. It's how much progress you have versus the cap. And you can increase that cap with research. So there's that little detail. But it does cost you, in this case, I got 5 of them lit up, so that's 10 credits a week. Another way of doing this where you don't even have to touch it, especially helpful when you have a large empire, is to go to Auto Manage, auto-manage infrastructure, and you can go balanced, which is kind of like what I have, or you can put all your chips in one of these different things. Unfortunately, there's not one for military. So there's that. So we're just going to cancel that. Now you can also appoint a governor. And in this case here, discipline, productivity is increased by 0.5 if governor. If he's a head of industry, I think what we'll do, he's a farmer. This is actually probably helpful if he's the governor. Yeah, we'll make this guy the governor because it's farming, and that'll help grow the amount of people and amount of food that you can produce. So that right there is probably the best idea. Now the other thing you have here is a trading menu. And this one was not really clear to me, but I assume that you can allow sales of food and plutonium, and I think you have a max of a maximum of 4 different resources that you can find that you can sell. Now basically you can only sell it to other empires, and if you're a nice guy, that's more likely to happen. But if you're at war with everybody, you're not going to be doing much trading. So keep that in mind. Alright, so we will start the clock. We'll go to normal speed, and as you can see, this ship here, this scout, is going to go through this warp gate, or this wormhole, and it will branch him off to up here, which looks like it may be a nebula. Let's speed this up a little bit. Poof, okay. So there's no planet here, but he's scouted that out, and he's going to keep searching around because he's set to auto-explore. He's going to look around and find planets and debris and asteroids and stuff like that. So we'll set him on his mission. Let's get some ships built. Oh, that reminds me. Alright, so we have the government menu. This is your research menu. Diplomacy menu. Ship designs. That's one I want to check out in just a minute here. Planets and colonies menu. And then codexes kind of gives you lore and gameplay like that. So let's go into here. Ship designs. This is actually kind of cool, but this is also where it kind of you'll see. So at the beginning, you don't have Titans right here unlocked because you have to research how to make a Titan chassis. But you do have lights, heavies, capitals, and stations. And each one has a tonnage limit. So stations and Titans, I believe, have 130 as a cap. Capitals, 90. Heavies, 60. Lights are 30. So we'll just, for fun's sake, we will play with the station because it gives us much more tonnage to play with. So for modules, click that and you can select self-repair, extra shield, anti-fire, circuits protector. What I find works is one self-repair, and if I can see, that's another problem in the game, is sometimes it doesn't let you click unless you see. Look, I'm moused on there. It's not lighting up. Now it lights up, and that means I can click on it. So it's the one little small glitch. So I'll just put in a whole buttload of shield chargers. Now, as you research these to make them better and get stronger shields, like these here, replenishes your shields by 300. You can get. Actually, I got that wrong. So you got reinforced plates and hard light shields. Now you see max shield 100, shield recharge rate for a second. I haven't really seen it actually recharge for a second during a battle, so maybe that is shut off in a battle situation. Properties has 20% extra protection against blaster weapons, so different shields have different bonuses against certain kinds of weapons, whether it's blasters, beams, or missiles. Also, they'll have a different max shield rating. I think the highest one is 500. And also the weight on it, as you see at the bottom of that, says 10 tons. I think there's one that's like 7 tons or something like that. So you can put those in. You can put reinforced plates in that adds HP to your hull, and that's 10 tons apiece. I usually just go with all shields. At least that's how I do it. You can customize it the way you wish. So now I only have 30 tons of space left to play with, and let's go to our favorites, the weapons. Now these here, they have different benefits to them. This is a bolt blaster, this is magnetic beam, and these are missiles. Now, they have different firing rates and ranges, and different damage amounts. Now, it seems to me, in my experience, that missiles are actually better than beams and blasters. Partly because they have the greater range, which is 12, and they seem to have a better punch. And sometimes I will mix them up with beams, maybe like one beam and a bunch of missiles. So let's just do that. Try to top off the tonnage here. So we'll just make a missile station. And we can't pack any more on because we don't have any more space. There is an upgrade where you can unlock an extra slot, just so you know, and make use of maximum use of your tonnage. So let's just name this thing up here station. Maybe if I spelled it right. Now, one problem I see so far in this game, and it does kind of bother me, is that if you design a ship or station, it will not it will not save it as a permanent copy to the game. I would actually like to have it so if I have stations that are all the same, like if I want to make this a station I use in future games, I'll have to build it up from scratch like this. So if I forget the stats, that's going to end up messing it up a little bit. I would like this to be one that could go from this game, and if I start a new game elsewhere or later on, to be able to have this back, and maybe even have a designation that says, you created this, or something to that effect, so I don't have to keep making it over and over again. And also, if you save the game and exit it and come back in, I've had one instance where the ship that I designed was no longer in it, and I'd have to redesign it right from scratch. But yeah. But one cool thing is from these ship designs, if you are wanting to refit a ship, say like this mining ship right here, you can go over here to the pencil, edit design, and of course, it just has a mining module and a nuclear engine, and there's different kinds of engines for this ship. Now I have 10 tons of space free, and I'm just going to put a shield on it. Or I could take the shield out and put in maybe a couple missiles for protection, because I want to. Now, if I click confirm on it, which I'm not, what will happen is it'll be armed, and all ships that I have that are mining ships, in this case I only have like one scout ship in this game, it'll automatically refit them at the cost of some credits. So instead of having to hunt down each and every ship and then rebuild it or delete it and build a new one, it'll pay for the upgrades across all the ships. I think that's actually a pretty cool touch. Because there's been some games I've played where you want to change one thing, like say you build something with this kind of engine, and then say a short period afterwards you've finally researched the next level of engine. Well, in some games I played, you had to hunt down a ship and disassemble it or destroy it and build a new one. Or, well, that's how you would have to do it. So to be able to, on the fly, get all of your mining ships or all your freighters or all your other ships and upgrade them no matter where they're at the cost of credits, I like that. That's a nice little touch. So anyways, we are going to build a station. Now you have a limit of one station, and in the beginning you can have, I think, up to 5 with research. So it's going to take 4 weeks to build this, which isn't all that long really. So we'll just speed things along. We're in week 4, month 1, and then so far our little scout has really been a busy little bee. So if you look here, you'll get these little icons right here. You got a magnifying glass and 2 hammers. And what this means is you'll have a thing that excuse me, a little indigestion there. Space debris that you send a survey ship to, and it'll scan it, and you can get some stuff out of it. And then like an asteroid or a deposit here. Now this will create a new resource that you can trade, but and sometimes you'll get other stuff out of it too. But you send a mining ship out, and it'll automatically go. You can set it to auto mine, and it'll go to these. And same with the surveyor ships. You can have them auto survey. So that's what that means. And then this little flag. Let me pause this because it's going to get noisy in a minute here. With this flag here, EDA 2, size average, living conditions decent. Base resources, aromium and food. Traits, decreases population approval by 10% because it's got dangerous fauna on it. Alright, so this is, when you see a planet with a flag, that means it's a planet you can colonize. Now as you see, this system has several planets. In this case here, EDA 3 is a small planet. It's impossible in terms of living conditions. No base resources and fascinating flora, which doubles your research. This one here, it's impossible, it's small, base resources, food, triples profit from tourism, it's bad living conditions, and that was a large planet. This is small and impossible. Now, as your research progresses, you can actually make it so that some of these planets will unlock and be habitable. That requires some research to do. So, since we got these messages which pop up in the Emperor log, the Kree have a message. A messenger from the Kree just arrived on Terra 1 with a message for us. He says the last survivors of his race are being persecuted by the Sithan, and they need help urgently. Not only that, he claims the Sithan are planning on attacking us. He says we should help each other, and they promised a reward if we do. However, first we need to build a decent military, and they say they'll contact us again once we do. So that updates the Emperor log. The Riordan clan has a message. Excuse me. And salutations, Terran. Seems like your systems could use some extra protection. So basically, these are racketeers here. So you can pay a protection fee or ignore them. If you don't, they may send out guys to basically go after your kneecaps. So because we don't have any military ships right now, or any defenses, we'll acquiesce to paying the protection for now. So minor race located in Oralgoroth 2. So little things like that pop up, and here's the Emperor log, and there's that. Now the game is, like I said, it plays a lot like Galactic Civilizations. It plays a lot like Endless Space. It plays a lot sort of slightly different than Sins of a Solar Empire. In fact, I think it's actually more like Sins of a Solar Empire in the fact that it's not a true turn-based game, if I recall correctly. It does have a more linear time thing rather than you just do all your actions, click next turn, and all that. That's more like Sword of the Stars. So you know, if you leave this running on slow, it'll continuously progress. But you can turn it into a turn-by-turn game by on and off with pause, which you can do with the F1, F2, F3, F4 to set the game speed. So we'll get this going again. I'm using F4 to go to the fastest speed. And let's see, station has been built on Terra 1. So right there, there's our station. Now as you can see, I'm going to pause this now. I've clicked the station, and right here we have activate self-repair and the shield recharge. Now you can manually pop these off, so if your shields go down by 300 points or something, you pop one of these, it'll spike it right back up, and spike it back up. And if your hull gets damaged, you can spike it back up. Most times, you know, if you're early in the game, you might want to do these manually, but there is an option to auto-manage abilities, which I think is a very nice touch, because if you have a large empire, and mind you, imagine you have a colonized planet in each of these systems, trying to nitpick through each and every one can be a little bit tedious, I would say. So to have it auto-manage it so that when it needs it, it'll activate each and every one of these is pretty damn cool. So now that we have a station built, let's get another ship going here. Let's get a colony ship going, because you want to expand outwards. So that's going to take 4 weeks in game time. So we'll speed things up. And you can see suspect rift located in. Okay, that's fine. Dandy. Nothing too big. Research complete. Sorry, advanced universities have been built. It's gone on to the next research thing, sustainable solar cities. 1 more week and we will have a colony ship. 1 week. And then up here, you have the alien head. Let's see, where was that? I think that was on this planet, right? Yeah. So that's where that one notice. So you can offer gift, that kind of stuff. So right now we're not going to mess with them. I don't usually deal with diplomacy. I deal with guns. Alright, so we should have a ship built out here, and we do. So we can move that aside. Now, with these, you can either set them to auto-explore, which I really wouldn't recommend, because they'll just keep running around until they get destroyed by something. Or to auto-colonize, and they will go to the closest colonizable planet after certain action is done. So I ordered it to move there, and once it got there, then it activated the search out a place to make home. And the same thing works with mining ships, freighters, I think, and survey ships. So anyways, let's close out of this. We'll quit to the main menu. That's about all I believe I can show you. So anyways, guys, this is a very fun game. They're still doing updates on it. I think the most recent one was June 16th. I got this game over a week and a half ago, but I've been sick and having a lot of things going on where I haven't been able to just sit down and do this review. But I have put some hours into this game. I enjoyed it a good deal. There is a point, in my opinion, where the game does get a little old, and I think that is primarily because I was doing it in skirmish and on a large map, and it's just kind of wash, rinse, repeat. And that's kind of the way it is with these type of games. There is a saturation point where it's like, okay, I got everything researched. I found all the planets. The enemy has got all the other planets. There's no free planets left. Now it's just attack, take over colony, take over colony, take over colony, and end game. It might be different with the storyline, because with the storyline I only did the mission that we had just done. I finished it within the parameters it set, which I think is survive 2 years. Did that, and then did the skirmish. But this game is a lot of fun. I haven't really found any game-breaking bugs. Just every now and then a little annoying quirk here and there. And because the game is still being worked on, I believe, and updated, I don't think those are going to be much of an issue. The specs for this, it works on Windows Vista all the way up to Windows 10, 64-bit, 3 gigahertz Intel Core i3 or equivalent processor, 4 gigs of RAM, which really I don't even see how this game really needs that much, but yeah. 1 gigabyte NVIDIA GeForce GT 4600 or equivalent graphics card, DirectX 9. You can play on the internet apparently. I haven't tried that because I don't really do that much. They say it requires 2 gigabytes of storage space on your hard drive, but it might be about like that. But yeah, it's a fun game if you're into real-time strategy or turn-based strategy of like an Empire type of game like this, or Galactic Civilizations, or Endless Space, Sword of the Stars, Sins of a Solar Empire, etc., or Masters of Orion, the granddaddy of them all. Then this game will definitely hit that niche for you. I had a lot of fun with it. I still play it from time to time when I have time, and there's that. I don't really have anything truly negative to say about it, and trust me, if there was something about it that I didn't like, I would definitely make mention of it. Just because I got the game for free doesn't mean I'm not going to give an honest review, but honestly, this is a pretty good game, and I don't have much fault with it. So Check it out on Steam. I believe I'll have the link in the description box below, as well as other links that you should probably check out, whether it's my Patreon or the links to other YouTubers who play games like this and many other styles of games. They have great content and are worthy of your eyeballs. So thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope this is helpful in one way or another. And until next time, see you later. Twitch, Twitch.